Okay, good evening everyone. Welcome to Byju's Exam Prep IAS. This is Sham Kagodia. Now, before we start the discussion, or let's say continue with the discussion, all of you okay? How is economics, by the way? Any problem so far? Okay, now let's start. Let me continue with the discussion now. We are discussing the concept of the bonds, different types, different varieties of bonds. Now, one we have discussed is a convertible bond. Remember that before the break. One is the concept of convertible bond. Second one is non-convertible bonds. Right? One is convertible. Second one is non-convertible. Convertible means which can be converted into any other form of a security. And second one is non-convertible, which cannot be converted into any other form of security. It will mature as bond itself. Let me go to the third concept here: zero coupon bond. Let me go to the third concept, a zero coupon bond. Now, what is a zero coupon bond? First and foremost, what do you mean by coupon here? Let me know. What do you mean by coupon? Coupon is nothing but interest rate. Anybody has a problem? Please do let me know. What is a coupon? Coupon is nothing but interest rate. That is, right? The argument is simple here. Imagine, right? Imagine here is an investor. If the investor will purchase a bond, right? Let's say will pay 100 rupees and purchase a bond from any issuer, right? Let's say the issuer can be a company. What is the concept of zero coupon? Understand the term zero coupon here. The term zero coupon simply means on this instrument, no interest rate shall be paid. I repeat, on this instrument, no interest shall be paid. Traditionally, what will happen? If coupon rate is 10%, right, the company will pay 10 rupee interest to the investor. All of you are okay with this? Let me know. If the coupon rate is 10%, the face value of the bond is how much? 100 rupee. Please go back. Earlier we have discussed all of this. The face value of the bond is how much? 100 rupee. Coupon rate of 10% simply means on 100 rupee, we'll calculate 10% and pay the coupon amount of 10 rupee. Now, what is this concept of a zero coupon bond? What is this idea of a zero coupon bond? Imagine, understand this very carefully. Imagine there is a bond. Face value of the bond is 100 rupee. Okay. Face value of the bond is 100 rupee. Now, I will sell this bond to you. I'm a company. I will sell the bond to you not at 100 rupee, but at 90 rupees. Understand? Step one. The bond is there. The face value of the bond is 100 rupee. That is the value which is printed on the bond is how much? 100 rupee. I will sell this bond to you not at 100 but at 90 rupees. Now, please tell me, if the value of the bond is 100, but if I sell it to you at 90, can I say I've sold the bond at discounted price? Let me know. Can I say I have sold the bond to you at a discounted price? And whatever the maturity period is there, right? Whatever the maturity period is there, upon reaching maturity, I will simply give you the face value of the bond. I will give you face value of the bond. Now, please tell me, if you are receiving a face value of the bond, are you getting any interest here? Is any coupon calculated on face value? Simple question. Face value is 100 rupee and I'm giving you the face value of 100 rupee. Are you earning any coupon rate on the face value here? It's not that you are not earning anything. Please understand the logic behind this. It's not that you are not earning anything. You are earning. But are you earning anything, right, above and over 100 rupee, which is the face value of the bond? Face value of the bond is 100. You will get 100 rupee. So are we calculating any coupon on the face value? If face value is 100 and if I give you 100, is there any coupon calculation here? Can I say zero coupon? Let me know. Can I say it's basically a zero coupon? Because, right, understand this, because on face value, no coupon is calculated. Such bonds, right, are referred to as a zero coupon bonds. Such bonds are referred to as a zero coupon bonds. Any difficulty here? Logic is simple. Face value is 100. I will sell it to you, get 90 rupees from you. So when I sell it, I will sell it at a discount lower than face value. And whenever the product will mature, whenever the bond or instrument will mature, I will give you the face value of the bond. Such bonds are referred to as a zero coupon bonds. Zero coupon bond. The same logic can be applied to treasury bill. Think of it. Can we apply the same logic to treasury bill? Sir, what do you mean by same logic? Imagine a treasury bill has a face value of 100. Think of it. Imagine a treasury bill has a face value of 100. Government will sell this to you at 90 rupees. And let's say after 91 days, a duration is over, government will give you the face value of 100 rupee. Can I call this as a treasury bill as an instrument which has zero coupon? Think of it. Can I say this treasury bill has a zero coupon concept, is following a zero coupon concept? It's not a bond. I do understand. A treasury bill is not a bond. It is basically less than 1 year. But is it following the concept of zero coupon here? Remember this, treasury bills are generally issued in the form of zero coupon instruments only. These are issued in the form of zero coupon instrument, meaning what? Whatever is the face value, government will not issue it at face value, they will issue it at a discounted price. And whatever the maturity period is, 91 day, 182 days or 364 days, government will give you the face value of the bond. So you will invest a discounted price, you will get the face value. And because you calculate coupon on the face value, there is no calculation of coupon rate. Hence, such instruments are referred as a zero coupon bond. Can we go forward now? Let me know. Can I go forward? Again, I'm telling you, it's not that you are not earning anything. Don't say, sir, but I'm earning 10 rupee. There is no dispute regarding that. But coupon is calculated on what? Right? I hope you understand. Coupon is calculated on what? Coupon is calculated at face value. But you are getting the face value after maturity, which means no coupon is calculated. Hence, it is called as, right, zero coupon bonds. Okay. Let me go to the next one. Indexed bonds. Let me go to the next one. Concept of indexed bonds. Now, what is the idea of an indexed bond here? Let me take one classification or one type of indexed bond. Inflation indexed bond. Inflation indexed bond. Now, what do you mean by inflation indexed bond? Right? Following is very simple example. Follow this very carefully. Imagine I will issue a bond. Face value is 100. You will give me 100 rupees. And after 1 year is over, I will give you a coupon rate of 10%. I will give you a coupon rate of 10%. Now, please tell me, in this time period, that is from today to next 1 year, is there inflation in the market? Let me know. Right? Today I've issued a bond to you. Coupon rate is 10%, which means on this bond you will get 10 rupee. But from today to next year, is there inflation in the market? Yes, there is inflation. So please understand this carefully. Are you not taking a risk? Are you not taking a risk by investing in such bonds where you don't know after 1 year when you get returns, when you get the coupon, how much will be the inflation rate? Let me know. Think of it and answer. After 1 year, right, I will give you 10 rupee. But are you guaranteed about what would be the inflation rate after 1 year? Any guarantee what would be the inflation rate? And if inflation rate, there is no guarantee, don't you think how much will be your real rate of returns? Can be 10%, can be 7%, can be 3%, can be 0% because inflation rate is there in the economy. So now tell me, Are you taking a higher risk on investing such bonds? Of course, yes, you are taking a higher risk. But what if I say, I will give you one more type of an instrument. I'll issue one more type of an instrument. But I will guarantee that whatever is the inflation rate, I will adjust your returns with inflation rate. I'll repeat the statement. Right? I'm giving you one more type of an instrument, but I'm guaranteeing to you. Guaranteed. What is a guarantee? In 1 year, whatever is the inflation rate, I will adjust your returns with inflation rate. Now, please tell me, if this kind of a guarantee is provided, will the new bond carry 10% or less than 10% coupon rate? Think of it. The new bond, again, not this bond. Understand the statement first. The new bond, will they offer a 10% rate of interest or coupon rate or less than 10% coupon rate? Think of it. Think of it. Think of it carefully. Some of you are not thinking. That is my concern. Some of you are not thinking. If you are given more safety, my dear, argument is simple. If you are given more safety, will they offer higher coupon rate? Tell me. Think at least. Will they give you more safety? They are giving you more safety in this example. Right? What is the safety here? The second issuer says, whatever be the inflation rate, I will adjust your returns with inflation rate. If that is the safety they are going to provide to you, will they offer you higher coupon rate? How does that make sense? You tell me. Will they offer you higher coupon rate? You do not want to take risk, but you want higher coupon rate. Will the market behave like that? No. Now can I say, if I'm going to issue one more instrument where I'm going to adjust returns with inflation, I will offer less than 10%. Any problem here? Any problem? Please do let me know. Will I offer 10%? I will not offer. Will I offer 12%? No way. I will never offer. Why? If I am giving you a guarantee, I am giving you more safety, why should I give you more returns? Right? I will give you lesser returns. Right? That is a market mantra. All of you have heard of this. Higher the risk, higher the returns. Lower the risk, lower will be the returns. That is basically the concept here. Why this is important? UPSC had asked a question on this. I'll show you the question later. Don't worry. UPSC had asked a question like this. What is the meaning? Imagine in the market, the interest rate in the market, or let's say the yield rate in the market is somewhere around 8%. The yield rate in the market is somewhere around 8%. Now imagine Government of India will issue one bond where they are saying they will adjust the coupon rate with inflation rate. Don't you think now government will be offering that at less than 8%? Yes or no? Government will be offering this new bond maybe at 5%, maybe at 6%. Why? They are offering you more safety. More safety means obviously rate of interest that you will earn will be less than whatever is the market interest rate. Now let's say hypothetically, the government will issue this kind of a bond and borrow from you at 5% rate of interest. What is the existing rate of interest in the market? What is the existing rate of interest? 8%. Government is able to borrow at 5%. Now can I say, if these kind of bonds are issued, inflation indexation, if these kind of bonds are issued, the cost of borrowing for the government will start coming down? Let me know. If these kind of bonds are issued, the cost of borrowing for the government will be lower. Anybody has a problem with this? Anybody has a problem with this? Please do let me know right now and listen carefully. If you do not listen carefully, I cannot keep on discussing same thing 10 times. Then one full day I will spend on indexed bond only. Listen carefully, my dear. Let me show it to you. How indexation will be done. Let me show it to you. Imagine in 2020, government has issued a bond. Okay, they have issued a bond. And let's say hypothetically, The face value of the bond is 100 rupee. You will pay 100 rupee, purchase it from the government, and let's say hypothetically, government is offering a coupon rate of 10%. So after 1 year is over, right? After 1 year is over, by 2021, what is the inflation rate in the economy? Think of it. What is the inflation rate in the economy? 6% rate is the inflation rate. 6% is the inflation rate. Now, if I simply calculate coupon, how much money I will give you? I will give you 10 rupees. Any problem with this? If I don't change anything, if I simply calculate coupon, I will give you how much? 10 rupee. But the government says, I will adjust the coupon with inflation rate. I will adjust the coupon with inflation rate. That is, price levels have increased by 6%. I will also increase the coupon by 6%. Anybody has a problem with the first calculation? Do let me know. If you want to find out how it becomes a 10.6, do this calculation. 10 rupee plus 6% of 10 rupee. Do this calculation, you will get 10 rupees 60 paisa. Is it okay? You will get 10 rupees 60 paisa. So is it okay if I say in 2021, right, whatever returns you have got, it has been adjusted. It has been adjusted with inflation rate. Now, what is the use of this? What is the use of adjusting with inflation rate? Please tell me. If inflation rate from last year to this year is 6%, your returns have been increased by 6%. Don't you think whatever purchasing power you had last year, even now you will have the same purchasing power with this returns? Think of it and do let me know. I'll repeat it. If your returns, if your coupon rate is also increased by 6%, price levels in the market also have increased by 6%. Right? Is it okay if I say whatever goods and services you could purchase in the market with 10 rupee last year, now you'll be able to purchase same set of goods and services with 10 rupees 60 paisa? Any problem here? If you still have a doubt, do remember the concept of inflation indexation of wages? Let me know. If you still have a doubt, please let me know. Do remember the concept of inflation indexation of the wages? We are applying the same logic here. Whatever is the inflation rate, we will increase the coupon rate by the same percent, which means your purchasing power will not change. It will still remain the same. And what will happen in the second year? Imagine from the base that is issue year, inflation rate has increased by 10%. So we will also increase the coupon rate by 10%, and assuming, right, the maturity period of the bond is 2 years, you will be given the principal of 110. Can I call such bonds as inflation indexed bonds? Let me know. Can I call such bonds as inflation indexed bonds, IIBs, inflation indexed bonds? Can I give you one more example related to this? Right, think of this. Have you heard of sovereign gold bonds? Let me see. Have you heard of sovereign gold bonds? Now, what is the idea of a sovereign gold bond? Please understand this. Sovereign gold bonds are a type of government securities which are issued by Government of India. Simple. What is SGB? It is also type of a government security, government bond in India, which are issued by Government of India. But why these are called as gold bonds? Argument is simple. Imagine you go to market, you purchase gold. Point number one, are you worried about the purity of the gold? Think of it. You will go to the market, pay 5 lakh rupees, 10 lakh rupees, whatever amount. You purchase certain amount of gold. Are you concerned about the purity of the gold? Of course, yes. You will be concerned about, right, purity of the gold. Point number one. Point number two, you purchase gold, keep it in your home, go to Europe for a trip. You go to USA for a trip. You go to, let's say, any other city for a trip. You go to your relative's home out of station. Please tell me, will you not be worried about safety of physical gold that you have kept in your home? Let me know. Are you not worried about safety of the physical gold that you have kept in the home? For example, if you have gone out of station, every day you'll be calling up your relatives, your friend, asking them, have you seen my home? Was the lock in the gate intact? Was the door locked? Was there light which was on inside the house? Right? Please do let me know if any of these things will happen, etc. etc. So, one, you're concerned about purity of the gold. Second one, you're concerned about safety of the physical gold. Now, Government of India has introduced a new scheme, Sovereign Gold Bond Initiative. Under this, what Government of India says is, rather than purchasing physical gold, I repeat, rather than purchasing physical gold, you purchase a bond whose prices are connected or whose prices are indexed to market price of the gold. Is it okay? I'll repeat it. You purchase a gold, the price of the gold is indexed. Indexed means what? Linked, connected. It is connected to market price of the gold. Sir, what is the meaning of it? Let's take a very simple example. Imagine today for 1 gram of gold, 1 gram of gold, imagine the price is, let's say, 5,000 rupees. I'll take simple numbers. Let's say price of 1 gram of gold is 5,000 rupees. Now, rather than purchasing physically 1 gram of gold, you will purchase a gold bond whose value is equivalent to 1 gram of gold. That is 5,000 rupees. You will pay 5,000 rupees, purchase a gold bond whose value is equal to 1 gram of gold. Now, the price of the gold in the market goes up to, let's say, 6,000 rupees after 1 week. What will happen to the market price of the gold bond that you're holding? The price of the gold bond that you're holding will also become 6,000 rupees. Any problem? If the market price of the gold per gram will fall down to 4,000 rupees, what will happen to, right, this value of the bond that you're holding? The value of the bond will also fall down to 4,000 rupees. Now, can I say the value, that is the market price or the price of the gold bond, is connected, it is linked to the market price of the gold. It is indexed to market price of the gold. This is the concept of sovereign gold bond. So why Government of India is promoting it? Simple. Government of India says you do not have to be worried about safety or security. You don't be worried. Why? It is a bond. You are not purchasing physical gold. It is a bond. Don't worry about safety. Point number two. Whenever you purchase a physical gold, you are worried about purity of the gold. In this case, there is no question of purity. Whatever is the market price, it will be indexed to the market price. Point number three. Imagine you will pay 5 lakh rupees, purchase certain gold jewelry or gold from the market. Will that gold earn you annual interest rate? Will that gold get you any annual interest rate? Answer is no. But Government of India, in case of sovereign gold bond, says, I will give you annual interest rate of 2.5%. 2.5% of your initial investment. In this example, what is your initial investment? In this example, what is your initial investment? Initial investment is 5,000. Whatever could be the market price of the gold, on this 5,000, that is your initial investment. Annually, government will provide you 2.5% rate of interest. Right? This is basically the concept of sovereign gold bond. And the advantage of promoting sovereign gold bond by Government of India is very simple here. India imports a huge amount of gold. I'm pretty sure you have been reading about this. India imports huge amount of gold from rest of the world. Now, people rather than investing in physical gold, if they start purchasing sovereign gold bonds, don't you think import dependence on the physical gold automatically will go down? Yes or no? Right? The physical requirements of importing gold into India will automatically go down. So these are some of the advantages citing which Government of India is pushing more and more, right, of a sovereign gold bonds. Bonds are sold through post office branches, nationalized banks, scheduled private sector bank, scheduled foreign banks, certain post offices, designated post offices, etc. Okay. Investment will be done in, right, the document here, that is an instrument rather than purchasing physical gold. These are generally issued in the form of grams of gold. Minimum investment is 1 gram. And please understand, from one type of investor to another type, maximum limit will keep on changing. It is not uniform for everybody in the market. From one type of investor to another, the value, maximum amount of investment will keep on changing. Now, another advantage of this, just like you purchase physical gold, even if you purchase this sovereign gold bond, government says you can use this sovereign gold bond for pledging in the market. Have you heard of pledging? Pledging means, imagine you have gold jewelry, you need money, you can, right, give it to a bank will give you a loan on it. That is called as pledging. Sovereign gold bonds, just like physical gold, can also be used to take loans provided for security, that is a pledging here. Right, so these are certain important points regarding the concept of sovereign gold bond. Any difficulty here? Please do let me know. Any difficulty? Is it not the concept of indexation again observed here? Let me know. Is it not the concept of indexation that has been observed even in this case of sovereign gold bond? That is, you will index the market price, right, to your sovereign gold bond. That is, as the market price goes up, the sovereign gold bond value will go up. As the market price will fall down, sovereign gold prices will also fall down. Is it not the concept of indexation? Let me know. Is it not the concept of indexation? Of course, yes, that is also idea for indexation. Okay. Now let me go to the next one. Concept of green bonds. Idea of green bonds or concept of, right, green bonds. Now, what is this idea of a green bond? Look at the name. Please look at the name. Green bond. Right? What do you think the meaning will be for green bond? Green bonds are those type of instruments where whatever money has been raised will be used in investing in projects which are environment friendly. Is it okay? I'll repeat it again. What are green bonds? Green bonds are instruments where money will be raised. For example, imagine I'm a company. I will issue a green bond to you. I will collect money. Now, can I use this 100 rupee that I've collected in any type of project? Can I use it in any form of a project? Absolutely no. Right? Why? I've issued a green bond, meaning whatever money I've collected, these has to be invested only in environment friendly projects, only in green projects. Now you'll ask me, what do you mean by green projects? What do you mean by environment friendly projects? What about solar energy and wind energy projects? Are they environment friendly? Think of it. Are they environment friendly? Clean transportation infrastructure, right? Is it environment friendly? Sustainable water management, climate change adaptation, energy efficiency such as green buildings, sustainable waste management where you are going to recycle, right? The circular economy will be promoted, biodiversity conservation efforts, etc. Now in these, please don't start asking me what you mean by adaptation. You will learn about all of this under ecology and environment. What do you mean by adaptation? What do you mean by restoration? What kind of strategies are used? Right? What do you mean by this, etc.? All of this under ecology and environment. But is it okay if I say all these projects which have been listed here, these can be referred to as environment friendly projects? Let me know. Can I say all the projects which have been listed here, right? Which have been listed here, right? All these are environment friendly projects. Anybody has a doubt, right? You can, anybody who says, sir, this is not environment friendly, please do let me know. All of them are environment friendly projects. So the issuer will issue the bonds, collect the bonds, and they can use this, right, in such infrastructure projects. Now, who is allowed to issue such bonds? There are two students who are asking who is allowed to issue. Have patience. And it simply means you're not even looking at the PPT. Now, this is my concern with the students. It simply means you're not even looking at the PPT, because is it not the second point? For 2 minutes, I was showing the same PPT to you. I don't know what you keep on observing. Who will issue these kind of bonds? Right? These are the stakeholders. One, government is allowed to issue these bonds. For example, Government of India is issuing these bonds now. Entities owned by Government of India. For example, National Highways Authority of India. Can I say NHAI is an entity owned by Government of India? So that is also allowed to issue green bonds. Private sector companies, many companies have issued it. Ford has issued it, right? Many companies have issued, right, these kinds of green bonds. And even multilateral organization such as World Bank. Even the World Bank has issued these kinds of green bonds. So government owned entities, private sector companies, and even multilateral international organizations. Right? All of these are allowed to issue green bonds. Now, why? Why there is a phase, why there is a demand for these kind of bonds in the market now? Please understand. Let me know. Don't you think more and more governments now are focused on reducing emissions? Yes or no? Take the example of India itself and tell me, right? Don't you think more and more governments across the world, not just India, it is focused on reduction of emission? What about zero emissions, net zero emissions? For example, Government of India says by 2070, we want to become net zero emission country. Government of India set up a target of net zero emissions by 2030 in railways in India. By 2030, we want to ensure railways becomes a net emission entity. So argument is simple. In recent times, there is more and more interest shown by international agencies, governments across the world, even the private sector, to invest in these kind of projects so that emissions will be reduced. They'll be helping in movement towards zero emission targets. Environment friendly projects are promoted now. And that is the precise reason nowadays there is a huge demand for green bonds in the market. Any problem here? Any problem here? Please do let me know. Now, in regards to the concept of green bonds, there is a very current affairs important term, greenium. There's a very important term called as a greenium. Right? What do you mean by greenium? Greenium is a combination of green plus premium. Right? Green plus premium. The combination of green plus premium, it is called as greenium. Now, what do you mean by greenium? Now, please understand. Discount means what? Let me know. Please tell me. Right? If I want to sell a product at a discount, right? What do you mean by discount? Can I say that whatever is the price of the product at a lower price, I will sell it to you? Anybody has a difficulty here? Discount means whatever the price is there, at less than that, I will sell it to you. Then exactly opposite to that is premium. Opposite of discount is premium. What do you mean by premium? If the price of the product is 100, I will sell it at 105 rupees. I repeat, price of the product is 100. I will not sell it at 100. I will sell it at more than 100. That is called as premium pricing. Now, why the term greenium is very often cited in the newspaper? Question number one, you think of it and tell me. If you want to borrow by issuing green bond, should you be asked to pay more coupon rate or less coupon rate? Think of it. If you are borrowing in the market by issuing a green bond, should the investors demand more coupon rate or lesser coupon rate from you? Think carefully. Please think carefully. My dear, will you demand more coupon rate? Many of you are saying more coupon rate. What is the logic behind it? You tell me. What is the logic behind it? Don't you think this is for a good cause? Tell me. If you're going to invest in green projects, don't you think that is for a good cause? That is for a good cause. Yes or no? At least now this is okay with you. This point is okay. You're investing in, let's say, renewable energy project. Is it not a good cause? Is it not for a good objective? Of course, yes. Now, if you're doing something good, should the people demand more coupon rate or lesser coupon rate from you? Think of it. Right? If you are doing something for a good cause to protect the environment, right, will you offer a more coupon rate or should you offer lesser coupon rate? You should offer lesser coupon rate, my dear. Right? It is for green initiatives. You should be offering it at a lesser coupon rate. Less, right, rate of interest you should pay. But what happens here, please understand this. Right? Slightly tricky. Let me know. What if I say you will get 100 rupee? Understand this. Face value of the bond is 100. You will sell the bond at 100 rupee. You will give a coupon of 6%. That is 6 rupee. Okay, example 1. Example 1, face value is 100. You will sell the bond at 100. You will give a coupon of 6%, which means 6 rupee annually. Second, understand this. Second, example 2, face value of the bond is 100. You will give 6% coupon rate, but you will sell it at 102 rupees. Tell me, the yield rate that you are giving, is it higher in example 1 or example 2? Think of it. The yield rate that you are offering to the investor, is it higher in example 1 or example 2 yield rate? Yield rate, focus on that yield rate. Yield rate that you provide, don't you think it will be higher in example 1? Those who are having a doubt, please look at it carefully. My dear, I'm talking about yield rate. Face value is 100. You will give 6 rupees only. Face value is 100. You will give 6 rupees only. But in the first example, you took 100 rupee from the investor. In second example, you took 102 rupee from the investor. Now, is the logic okay? Face value is 100. Coupon rate is 6%. You will give 6 rupees only. But what has happened to the yield rate in the second example? What has happened to the yield rate? Yield rate has come down. Market price goes up. Yield rate will come down. That's a very basic idea. Yield rate will come down. Now have a look at this. If you take 102 from the investor, when the face value is 100, give them 6 rupees, can I say you have reduced the coupon rate in that year? Technically speaking, right, the face value is 100, you will sell it at a premium price. Look at the term. The face value is 100 and you will calculate the coupon rate on the face value of 100 rupee. You will sell it at more than 100 rupees, that is at premium of 102 rupees. Are you effectively paying 6% rate of interest or less than 6% rate of interest to the investor? You are paying less than 6% rate of interest to the investor. This is called as greenium. Any problem here? This is called as greenium. That is green plus premium. By following the concept of greenium, effectively the rate of interest paid by the issuer will be lesser, will be lower than whatever is the existing market rate of interest. Done? These are certain important concepts regarding the idea of a green bond. And always remember this. The concept of a green bond generally comes under a bigger, right, idea. Bigger concept is there now. There is this type of investment that is taking place in the market by the name of ESG. ESG investments. Have you come across this? Very often this is cited in the newspapers. There is a bigger concept in the market now, ESG, employment, social and governance. ESG simply stands for employment, social and governance investment. Now, what do you mean by ESG investment? Many of these investors in the market now, domestic investors, foreign investors, many of these investors are preferring to invest in such instruments which are focused on, let's say, protection of interest of the workers, protection of environment, And these companies are fundamentally very strong in terms of implementation of government guidelines. Is the logic okay here? ESG stands for Employment Social Governance, ESG. There are a lot of investors who are interested in investing in such instruments, that is of the companies which are protecting the interest of the workers, which are right environmentally sensitive, and which are fundamentally very strong in terms of implementation of government guidelines. Governance is very, very strong for them. This is called as ESG investment. And the concept of a green bond is covered under the idea of ESG investment itself. Okay, can we go forward now? Any problem? Can we go forward? Next one is concept of masala bonds. Next one is the idea of masala bonds. Now please understand, before you understand masala bond, there is a term called as external commercial borrowing. External commercial borrowing. In short, external commercial borrowing simply means ECB, wherein the private sector companies in India will be allowed to borrow from outside India. Very simple. Look at the name, you will only understand. What do you mean by external commercial borrowing? Private sector companies in India will be allowed to borrow from outside India. Sir, in what form? In what way these companies will be allowed? Can they issue bond outside India and borrow? Think of it. Can they go to USA market, issue a bond in the USA market, borrow from the USA market? Of course, yes. Can they go to USA and borrow directly from a bank in USA? Possible or not? I'm giving you straightforward two examples. A company, that is Indian company, will go to USA, issue a bond in USA, borrow from USA market. External. The Indian company will go to USA, there is a bank in USA, take a loan directly from the bank. Again, that is external only. Right? So there are many ways. I repeat, there are many ways under which the private sector companies in India are allowed to borrow from external market. Best example is by issuing bonds, right? By taking a loan from the banks, etc. Now come to the point number two. Point number two. Whenever you talk about external commercial borrowings, whenever you talk about ECB, that is when you borrow from the external market, you can borrow it in the form of domestic market currency. You can borrow the money in the form of domestic currency borrowing. I'll explain this, have patience. Or you can borrow it in a foreign currency. The borrowing can be done in the form of domestic currency, or the borrowing can be done in the form of foreign currency as well. Now, second point should not be very difficult to you. That is, you will go to USA, issue a bond, borrow $100 and repay $100 to the investor. But what is this? What is this idea of borrowing in domestic currencies? Right? How can we borrow in domestic currencies outside India? Let me give you an explanation. Those instruments are called as masala bonds. The instruments that I'm talking about, using which you can borrow from outside India, but in terms of rupees, these instruments are referred to as masala bonds. Let me define masala bonds first. Masala bonds are overseas, right, are issued in offshore market or overseas market. Masala bonds are nothing but debt instruments which are issued outside India, right, overseas market or offshore market, but in the form of a domestic currency. Borrowing is done in domestic currency and repaid in domestic currency. Now, what do you mean by this? Let's start. I'll give you two examples. Follow the explanation carefully. Follow the explanation carefully. Example 1, example 2. Imagine you are the investor in USA. Okay, imagine you are an investor sitting in USA. I am an Indian company. Example 1, I will come to USA. I will sell a bond to you, and the value of the bond is, let's say, $100. The value of the bond is how much? $100. And I'm saying annually I will give you 10%. Again, hypothetical numbers. Annually I'll give you 10% coupon rate. Now, is it okay if I say in example 1, the borrowing is done outside India or overseas market? Anybody has a difficulty? Focus only on example 1. Don't worry about unnecessary things. Focus only on example 1. Can I say in example 1, borrowing is done outside India, and second, borrowing is done in the form of dollars and repaid in the form of dollars? Any problem with these two statements? Let me know. Any problem with these two statements that I've given just now? And if you people do not answer to me, I will assume you have understood and I'll go forward. I'll simply go forward assuming you have understood it. Now, there is a one problem. There is one problem regarding such type of borrowing. What is the problem? Do you remember earlier example that I told you? What if today when you borrow, $1 is equal to 50 rupees, and when you're supposed to repay, $1 is equal to 60 rupees? Tell me now. When you borrowed, $1 is equal to 50 rupees. When you're supposed to repay, $1 becomes is equal to 60 rupees. So don't you think I am facing when I'm borrowing in a foreign market in a foreign currency? I repeat, when I'm borrowing in a foreign market in a foreign currency, is it okay if I say I'm facing exchange rate risk? Let me know. Is it okay? Can I say I'm facing exchange rate risk? Now there is a solution to this. What is the solution? I'll come to USA. Again, you're a foreign investor. I'll come to USA. And when I come to USA, I will issue a bond to you. And the value of the bond is not in dollars now. Value of the bond is in rupees. Value of the bond is in terms of rupees. And let's say hypothetically, I'll just take hypothetical number. If $1 is equal to 40 rupees, right? The $1 is equal to 40 rupees. I am telling you, you are the foreign investor. I am telling you, you convert that dollar into rupees and give me rupees. Simple. Your investment will be in rupees. I'm not going to accept your investment in the form of dollars. I'm going to accept your investment in the form of rupees, which means the value of the bond is given in the form of domestic currency. Value of the bond is right given in the form of a domestic currency. What is the domestic currency for us? Rupees. Now, point number 2. Many of you will simply ask me, sir, why will the foreign investor, why an investor sitting in USA, will purchase such bond? I will tell you now. Interest rates, general interest rate in USA is somewhere around 5%. This is important. Listen first. Listen. General interest rates in USA is 5%. I am offering the investor in USA 9% to 10%. Think of it. The general interest rates in USA is around 5%. But to this investor, I am telling the investor, I will give you 9% on your investment. Now, please tell me, point number 1. Is the foreign investor earning more interest rate compared to whatever is the prevailing domestic interest rate? Simple question. Is the foreign investor in the second example, is the foreign investor earning more interest rate compared to prevailing whatever is the interest rate in their market? Anybody has a problem with this? Anybody has a problem? Of course, yes. Prevailing in USA is 5%. I am giving the foreign investor 9%. So he is earning more interest rate. But can you earn more interest rate without taking higher risk? Think of it now. Can you earn more interest rate without taking higher risk? How is that possible? That doesn't make any sense. What is the risk that is taken under the example 2 by the foreign investor? Now, can I say in example 2, exchange rate risk? In example 2, exchange rate risk will be taken up by the foreign investor. Any problem in understanding this? In example 2, exchange rate risk will be taken up by the foreign investor. In example 1, the borrower, that is the Indian company, is taking the exchange rate risk. This example 2 is basically nothing but masala bond. Any problem here? This example 2 is nothing but the concept of masala bond itself. I'll repeat it again, understand this. Masala bonds are debt instruments which are issued in the overseas market. Overseas means outside India, which are issued in the overseas market by Indian companies. Point number 2, these masala bonds, the value of the masala bond is always denominated. Denominated means given, right? The value of the masala bonds is always given in the form of domestic currency. And because the returns are paid on the value of the domestic currency, the higher exchange rate in case of masala bonds will be borne by the foreign investor. And because the risk associated with investing in such instruments is higher, generally the coupon rates on such instruments is also higher. Any problem with this? Please do let me know. Any problem with all of this? Right now, RBI has a condition regarding this. What is RBI saying? RBI says that if the maturity period of these bonds, masala bonds by the way, if the maturity period of these bonds is of 3 years, I'm sorry, it is right up to 50 million. My mistake. If you're borrowing up to 50 million, then the maturity period of these bonds has to be 3 years. And you want to borrow more than 50 million. I'm writing $50 million, right? Can you talk in terms of rupees? Convert that in talk in terms of rupees? Of course, yes. If you want to borrow more than $50 million using masala bonds, then the maturity period has to be for 5 years. Right? So these are the concepts, these are the points related to masala bond. Now, before I go forward, let me add one more point here. Why do we use the term masala bond? Why are we calling them as masala bond? Now, please go back to your high school. Britishers, when they came to India, don't you think they were concerned about how much masalas, how much spices they would be getting from India? Let me know. Please go back to high school, right? Modern Indian history, whether this is over or not, don't worry. But please recap. Please go back to high school, right? Don't you remember that point? That is basically the Britishers used to come to India. One of the reasons they came to India was in search of getting more and more masala, that is spices. That is the reason whenever you're talking about bonds in the international market, where the value of the bond is given in terms of rupees, we'll simply call them as masala bonds. Any problem here? We'll simply call them as masala bonds. Now I'll give you one more example. You tell me what will be the currency for these bonds? Samurai bonds. General knowledge. If I say samurai bond, what will be the currency, right, in which these bonds will be denominated? Right? I repeat, if I say samurai bonds, in which currency these bonds will be denominated? Japanese yen. All of you heard of samurai? Right? National sports. Japan. National sports. Samurai bonds. Right? Obviously Japan. Dim sum bonds. Dim sum bonds. Think of it. Dim sum bonds. Dim sum bonds are basically denominated in yuan, Chinese yuan. Right? Dim sum is nothing but momos. We call them as momos. Dim sum is nothing but momos. Right? Chinese yuan. Right? Let me give you one more example. Right? That is baklava bonds. Baklava bonds. Right? Baklava bonds. Please tell me. These are denominated in lira, Turkish lira. Lira is a domestic currency for Turkey. Turkish lira, right? These are called as baklava. Baklava, by the way, is very sweet, very delicacy, right? A delicacy that is consumed very famously in Turkey. In fact, if you are there in, let's say, any metro cities in India, right, you must have seen certain shops which are selling baklava sweets now. Yes or no? At least those people who live in right bigger cities, have you seen baklava sweets being sold by bigger shop sweet companies? Sweets, they are selling these products in India now, baklava sweets. Okay, so is the logic okay now? Let me know. Is the logic okay with all of you? What is the concept of masala bond? Why do we call them as masala bond? What is the advantage related to masala bond for us? What is the concern related to masala bond for them, etc., etc.? Okay, right? This is one more type of a bond. Now, before I go forward, can I even add? I think of this, right? Two more types of bonds. Can I even add additional tier 1 bond? Can we add the concept of additional tier 1 bond as well as the tier 2 bonds here? Let me know. We have discussed this. That's the reason I have not written these separately. I'm discussing everything about bonds, bond market, debt market. Can we write the concept of additional tier 1 bond as a new type of bond instrument in India? Can we say tier 2 bonds is also a new concept of debt instrument in India? Those are asking what is additional tier 1 and tier 2. Please open your banking PPT. We have discussed this separately in the banking sector itself. Sir, where have you discussed this? Go to the Basel guidelines. In the Basel guidelines, there is one slide for both of them. So these are the new types of bond instruments which are there in the market. Please be very, very careful. Questions can be asked in UPSC prelims as well as mains. Now let me go to the next one. IPO and FPO. Any problem so far? Let me know. Any problem so far? Next is IPO and FPO. Can't we fix the exchange rate instead of floating rate? If you fix exchange rate, every other country will do the same thing. Then that will not promote trade. I hope you understand. I believe the person who's asking this question already knows the concept of exchange rate. Others who do not know the concept of exchange rate, don't worry, we'll discuss exchange rate next week. But if you start, that is, if government of India starts fixing the exchange rate, every other country will do that. That will hinder growth trade in the international market. When the Indian company borrow loan from the foreign bank, the extra taxes will apply. On borrowing, what is the tax? Let me know. On borrowing, what kind of tax are you thinking about? I don't know. For example, I took a housing loan, right? What kind of a tax is there on this? Do let me know. Electrification in automobile industry, is that coming under green bonds project? Some of the countries accept it, some of the countries don't accept it. Please understand, idea of a green infrastructure project, there is no universal definition as of now. It mainly varies from one country to another country. For example, India, right? We have a different list of what is a green, what is not green project. Money raised in a green bond used in any green project or the mentioned specified project. Now, let me give you a basic idea here. If I'm issuing a green bond, I will give you a document. This is how the process actually works out. Anybody who is issuing any type of instrument in the market, they publish a document saying that we are this company, right? We want to borrow this much. We want to use it for this, etc., etc. So if I'm borrowing through green bond, before I issue a green bond, I will have to specifically say for what purpose, for what project I am borrowing this money. Right? Because please understand, there would be certain investors who are interested in investing in, let's say, clean transportation project. They are not interested in solar energy. So for those kind of project investors, there should be clarity. For what purpose I'm borrowing, there should be clarity. Hence, before issuing only, I will tell you what kind of project I am borrowing for, and I will have to use it only for that project. If the rate of gold increases and the annual interest received, will it be added by adding both? If the rate of gold increases and the annual interest received, will it be added by adding both? What do you mean by that? I'm unable to understand the question. By the way, I forgot to tell you one point regarding sovereign gold bond here. Please understand, this is a bond. It is there in the slide. Right? Anyways, I'll tell you. Right? It is a bond. All of you will agree? It is a bond. Bond means what? It has to have maturity period. Right? This is a point I've skipped. I'm repeating. I'm explaining this. Understand this. It's a bond. Bond means this has to have a maturity period. What is the maturity period for sovereign gold bond? Maturity period for sovereign gold bond is 8 years. A maturity period for sovereign gold bond is 8 years. And always remember this. Imagine, I'll just take a simple example. Imagine you purchase the sovereign gold bond and it will mature. It will mature, let's say, on 15th August. Simple number, don't worry. A simple date. It is going to mature on 15th August 2023. So whatever is the price of the gold on 15th August 2023, that price will be given to you. I'll repeat it. If anybody has a problem, please do let me know right now. Right? The sovereign gold bond has a maturity period of 8 years. And whenever the sovereign gold bond will mature, whoever is owning, because these can be bought and sold in the market, whoever is the owner of the sovereign gold bond, whatever is the market price of the gold on that day will be given to the owner of the sovereign gold bond. Upon maturity, please remember, you will not get cash. Sorry, you will not get gold. My mistake. Upon maturity of the sovereign gold bond, you will not get gold from the government. You will get cash from the government. Any problem with this? Let me know. Any problem with this? At gold rate, we get then what is 2.5? Annual interest rate. It's a bond. Right? Understand this. It's a bond. Bond means coupon rate has to be given to you. Interest rate has to be paid to you. That is 2.5% annually. Whatever is your initial investment, 2.5% of that annually interest will be given to you. Any more difficulties? Zero coupon bonds are tradable. These are tradable. Anybody can trade them. Is IPO related to share market? Yes. I have not yet discussed. I have not discussed IPO. If rupee falls, then masala bond holders will fetch losses. Again, please understand, risk is taken by the foreign investor. Risk is taken by the foreign investor. What if rupee value against dollar will fall down? Is the borrower not taking a risk there? Think of it. If rupee value against the dollar will fall, if I have to repay the dollar, is the borrower not taking risk there? Of course, yes. In the same way, when this is a rupee denominated bond, when the bond is rupee denominated, foreign investor will take the risk of exchange rate risk. That is the precise reason we are offering more interest rate to the investor. Okay. As green bond is invested in green projects, where or in which type? Again, don't worry about all of that. The list is very lengthy. Why do you want to waste your time? List is very lengthy. Okay. Okay, done. Any more doubts? Any more doubts? So at last of SGB, we get the interest rate plus market value of gold at that time. Again, I'll repeat it. Interest you will get annually. Do you understand the term annually? Interest you get annually. And after maturity, whatever is the last year's interest plus whatever is the gold price on that day when the bond will mature, that will be given to you. Okay. Any more doubts? Okay, done. Right? Any more doubts? Please do let me know. Otherwise, I'll go forward now. Let's go forward if there is no doubt. Okay, so these are the concepts related to the types of bonds. All these are very new types of bonds in the Indian market. Questions can be asked by UPSC. Please be very, very careful. Now, next, I want to discuss the concept of IPO and FPO. I want to discuss the concept of IPO and FPO. Please do not start typing what is full form. Full form is the first point under respective acronyms. IPO stands for Initial Public Offering And FPO stands for follow-on public offering. Now, what do you mean by IPO? What do you mean by FPO? Let's start. Imagine, right? Imagine you will start a company today. Imagine, okay, you will start a company today. Now, who is the owner of the company? You are the only owner of the company. Over a period of time, the company performs very well. You want to get more money so that company's operations will expand. You want to purchase one more company. You want to, right, produce more goods. Whatever the reason is, you want more money so that the operations of the company will get expanded. Now, in that case, until now, please understand the point carefully here. Until now, who was the owner of the company? You were the only owner of the company. Now, what you will do is, you will sell the ownership, right? You will sell certain amount of ownership in the market and the company will raise capital. Simple idea. Until now, let's say you started the company in 2020. Simple. You started the company in 2020 and in 2030, the company wants to raise more money so that operation can be expanded. For that, they need more money. One is they can borrow from the market, but you don't want to borrow because the borrowings are already very high. So what is the other option available to you? To get the money from the market, you can simply go to the market, sell shares, sell ownership of the company, and right basically collect money, expand your operations. So answer to my question now. Answer to my question. When in 2030, you will sell the shares of the company, you will sell the ownership of the company. Can I say you are doing this for the first time? That is, the company is doing this for the first time. That is selling the ownership to the public in the first time, right? And because this is being done for the first time, I'll call this as initial public offering. Any doubt here? I'll repeat it again, right? Because the company until now, until 2030, you were the only owner. You were the only owner. And in 2030, for the first time, the ownership of the company is being sold to the right investors in the market. Who can purchase the shares? You can purchase. I can purchase. Right? Insurance companies can purchase. Foreign investors are allowed to purchase. So for the first time ever, the ownership of the company is being sold, right, to the investors in the open market. Right? Whenever it is done for the first time, it is called as an IPO, initial public offering. And whenever it is done for the second time, that is next in 2040, please tell me now. Next in 2040, can the same company issue shares again? I'll give you current affairs example. Next in 2040, can the same company which has conducted IPO in 2030, can the same company issue shares again in the market? Answer is yes. Some of you are saying no, which shows that you people are not reading current affairs. Can I connect it to current affairs? Have you read about issue related to Adani company? Let me see. This is where current affairs becomes very important, my dear. Right? This shows you don't read current affairs. Adani company, was it going for IPO? When that Hindenburg issue happened, was Adani company going for IPO or FPO? Adani company was going for FPO. Please read correctly. If you don't trust me, type it in Google, you will get it. When that Hindenburg issue happened, Adani company was actually going for FPO. What do you mean by FPO? The company has already completed IPO, right? The IPO is already over. After IPO, the company, whenever they issue shares again in the market, it is called as an FPO, for the follow-on public offering. Any problem here? Right? Any problem here understanding what is IPO and what is FPO? What if the company will again sell the shares in 2050? Tell me now. IPO is already done in 2030, right? 2040, they have done FPO. What if the company again will issue shares in 2050? Can I call this also FPO? Let me know. Can I also call this as FPO? Because IPO is the first time. IPO simply the first time. Whenever the shares are issued for the first time by the company to the investors, that is called as an IPO. But after that, any number of times, let them keep on issuing. I'll simply call them as FPO, follow-on public offering. Okay. Now, point number 2 here. Point number 2. Whenever company goes for an IPO, I repeat, whenever a company will go for an IPO, it simply means the shares of this company are available in the stock market for trading purposes. I'll repeat the statement. Whenever any company goes for an IPO, it simply means the shares of the company is available in the stock market for trading purposes. What do you mean by that? Please do let me know. Adani has conducted IPO. Paytm has conducted IPO. Zomato has conducted IPO. Answer is yes. Can you purchase the shares of any of these companies in the stock market? Assuming you have money. Don't say, sir, I cannot purchase because I don't have money. That is not the argument here. If you are investors in the stock market, can you purchase the shares of Zomato? Yes. Can you purchase the shares of Paytm? Yes. Can you purchase the shares of Adani company? Yes. Can you also sell these shares in the market? Again, answer is yes. So what is the meaning of a company going for an IPO? Once any company goes for an IPO, we'll call the company as a listed company. Please remember this. We will call this company as a listed company, or we'll also call this company as a public company. And whenever you call this as a company, a public company or a listed company, meaning is that shares of this company are available in the market. Right? Shares are available in the market. Anybody can purchase, anybody can sell them. Right? That is the meaning of the term listed company or company is going public. Can we go forward now? And FPO. Right? FPO means what? The company is already listed. The company is already listed in the stock market. Right? The company is issuing more shares. Already the trading is there. Company is going to issue more shares. That is basically the concept of IPO and FPO. Next important point. Both IPO and FPO, both of them will be coming under the regulation of SEBI. Remember this. Both IPO and FPO, both of them will come under the regulation of SEBI. SEBI stands for Securities Exchange Board of India. Securities Exchange Board of India, SEBI. Now, if you want to conduct an IPO, you will have to take the approval of SEBI. You want to conduct an FPO, you will have to take the approval of SEBI, because the SEBI is a market regulator. SEBI is the market regulator. Hence, you will have to take approval from Securities Exchange Board of India. Apart from this, please remember, SEBI is a statutory authority now. It is a statutory body. Statutory body means what? Government will pass an act, and under that, right, we will set up this authority. So SEBI has become a statutory authority back in 1992. Right? Statutory status has been given to SEBI back in 1992. Done? Now, very recently in the current affairs, there is this concept of, right, understand this, there is this concept of settlement. I said we will cover it today, current affairs. Let me cover it. Right? There is this concept of settlement. Now, what do you mean by settlement? Understand this very carefully. Understand the concept here. Imagine, right, I have certain shares of Adani company. You want to purchase the shares of Adani company. So both of us will come to an arrangement. I will sell the shares. You will pay the money to me. Any problem here? Let me know. You want to purchase the shares of Adani company. I want to sell the shares of Adani company. Which means, right, we will come to an agreement where I will sell, you will buy. But please understand this. This is basically an agreement. But the settlement of agreement, settlement means literally, I will hand over the shares to you. I will transfer the shares to you and you will make the payment to me. That is called a settlement. Any problem in understanding the term settlement? Let me know. Right? One is basically negotiation. We'll negotiate and we'll come to an arrangement. That is, I'm saying, okay, I will give you 50 shares of Adani company. and you will tell me, okay, for every share, right, you will give me 100 rupees. This is just an arrangement. Is the settlement already done? No. After this arrangement, after we arrive at a pricing here, I will literally transfer the shares to you. You will literally transfer the payment to me. That is called as a settlement of transactions. Right now, in case of India, we follow a settlement cycle which is called as a T+1 settlement cycle. Any problem here? Right now, we follow a settlement cycle which is called as a T+1 settlement cycle. What do you mean by T+1? If today there is an agreement between both of us, today we will agree that, okay, I will give you Adani shares, you will give me money. If that happens today, the actual settlement will take place in next 24 hours. Any problem here? Please do let me know. What do you mean by T+1? If today both of us agree to enter into a transaction, the settlement of the transaction will happen in next 24 hours. That is the reason this is called as a T+1 settlement. Earlier we had T+3, then we brought it down to T+2. Now we are one of the very few countries in the international market which is offering T+1 settlement. Now SEBI says it is a proposal yet to be done. Now SEBI says in the coming days, it is yet to be done. You do not know how this will work out, etc., etc. Let's wait for it. Now SEBI says we will offer instant settlement. Right? We will offer instant settlement. Now how that will be done, I don't know. Right? Even SEBI has not given any clear framework for it. They are saying we'll set up new systems, we'll create better systems where if you make a transaction, if you agree for a transaction, the settlement of the transaction will happen instantly. How? Right? They are saying we will use UPI, we will use that technology. With this technology, we'll be able to do that, but it is not yet operational. Once it becomes operational, you will be able to understand how they are able to do that. Now, this is related to the concept of instant settlement, a T+1 settlement. Any problem with this? Let me know. Any problem with this concept of a T+1 instant settlement, etc.? Please do let me know. Otherwise, I'll go forward. T+1, my dear, it simply means, again, there are certain students who will keep on asking same thing. Every time they will ask, but what were you listening then? T+1 simply means today if we come to an arrangement, settlement will happen in next 24 hours. I will transfer the shares to you in next 24 hours. You will pay the money in next 24 hours. This is my advice to the students. Listen when I speak. For everything, you cannot keep on saying, repeat this, repeat this, repeat this. Then what we are covering in 6 hours will take 15 hours. Then you will study economics for 5 months. When will you study other subjects? When will you attend other classes? Think of that as well. I think that's the reason when I'm speaking, focus, listen carefully. Okay. Any problem here? Is settlement different from secondary market purchasing, selling of shares? Hey, Baba, it is happening in the secondary market only. This buying and selling is happening in the secondary market only. Settlement is happening in the secondary market. That is what I'm talking about. Okay. So SEBI is promoting, or is saying that in the coming days, we will go for instant settlement. How that will work, you will have to wait and see. Okay. Done. So this is one very important current affairs. Please go through the slides. Please go through the concept. UPSC can ask you the question based on this. Now here itself, I want to introduce one more concept to you. One more current affairs related to SEBI only. They've introduced the concept of application, right? Application based uh, settlement. Array, one second. ABSBA. Can anyone check in the Google? Let me know. I'm just getting confused here. Application supported. Okay, I got it. Application supported backed amount. Application supported backed amount. ASBA. This is a new type of a system. Application supported by blocked amount. Sorry, not backed amount, a blocked amount by blocked amount. Now let me explain this. Right, application supported by blocked amount, ASBA. Very new system. Very recently has been introduced in primary market as well as secondary market by SEBI now. Now, what is this idea of a ASBA? Let me explain this. Imagine, I'll give you a hypothetical example, then we'll come back to the stock market. Imagine you order this product via Amazon. Okay, you order this product via Amazon. Now, I'm a delivery guy. I will bring this bottle to your home. I will give the bottle to you. Now, you're supposed to make a payment. You say you do not have cash. Then I'll say, please make a payment through Google, right? UPI. Now you will simply say, sir, that amount is not even there in the bank account. So I don't have money in the bank account right now. I do not have cash also, which means can the settlement of the transaction happen here? Think of it. Can the settlement of the transaction happen in this case? Settlement of the transaction will not happen because you don't have money. I'm asking you, can the settlement of the transaction happen? What do you mean by settlement of the transaction? I will give you bottle, you will give me money. That is the meaning of settlement of the transaction. So, do you think settlement of the transaction in this case will happen? No, it will not happen. Apply the same logic in the stock market. Apply, right, the same logic in the stock market. Right, both of us have negotiated. You simply said, you will purchase the shares from me. I will sell the shares to you at, let's say, 5,000 rupees. Total amount is 5,000. Now, what if tomorrow when the settlement is supposed to happen, I will transfer the shares to you. You don't have money to pay me. Right? Don't you think that becomes a problem to settle a transaction? Right? I hope you understand. That will become a problem to settle the transaction. Now, what is the solution to this? SEBI has introduced a new system called as application supported by blocked amount, ASBA. Application supported by blocked amount. Now, what will happen under applications or ASBA? Let's take it. Imagine, understand this carefully. Imagine same example. I will sell the Adani shares to you. You will pay 5,000 rupees to me. That is what we have agreed. That is what we have agreed today. In your bank account, let's say there is 50,000 rupee. In your bank account, there is, let's say, 50,000 rupee. Now, under the application supported by blocked amount, out of 50,000 rupee, 5,000 rupee will get blocked. Reservation. Simple. Out of this 50,000 rupee, 5,000 rupee will get blocked. That 5,000 rupee, you cannot use it for any purpose. Tomorrow, when I will transfer the shares to you, from your account, this 5,000 rupee which was blocked earlier, now will be transferred to my account. Is the logic okay? Tomorrow, right, when the settlement will take place, this 5,000 rupee which was blocked in your account now will be simply transferred to my account. This system is called as application supported by blocked amount. Any problem here? Sir, what is the advantage of it? Now tell me, if your bank account has 50,000 rupees, can you go to the bank today evening and withdraw all the 50,000 rupees when there is a ASBA? Think of it. Let me know, by the way. Right? When 5,000 rupee has been blocked, can you go to the bank today, right? And can you withdraw all the 50,000 rupees? No, bank will not allow you to withdraw 50,000. That 5,000 rupees has been blocked now. That shall be used for settlement of the transaction tomorrow. That is called as ASB. Okay, this is very famous now, introduced in India for the first time, both under primary market as well as secondary market. Right, so this is basically the representation of IPO and FPO. Please have a look at it. Right, the company will allocate or sell the shares, right, to the investors for the first time. Who can be the investor? Right, I can purchase the shares, you can purchase the shares. We are referred to as retail investors. Right, I can purchase the shares in IPO. You also can purchase the shares under IPO. We are referred to as retail investors. What if a mutual fund company will purchase? These are called as institutional investors. What if a high net worth individual, right? That is very rich person, not Aam Aadmi like me. High net worth individual who will purchase or who will invest 10 lakh rupees, will purchase 8 lakh rupee worth of shares. These are called as non-institutional investors. So investors can be institutional, non-institutional, as well as retail investors. All of us are allowed to participate in the IPO. We can purchase the shares. Now, these investors can sell these shares in the stock market. Right? These investors can sell these shares in the stock market. The stock market can be Bombay Stock Exchange, or it can also be a national stock exchange. There are two very important stock markets in India. One is called as BSE, second is called as NSE. Right? One is Bombay Stock Exchange, second one is National Stock Exchange. And here, please understand this. Can I say, because I am purchasing the instruments directly from the issuer, IPO. I'm talking about IPO. Think of this. Any issue, let me know right now. Because in IPO, I'm directly purchasing the instruments from the issuer. Can I call this as a primary market? Let me know. Can I call this as a primary market here? And second, I have already purchased the instruments from the issuer, that is the company. Now I will start trading these instruments in the market. I will sell these instruments to you. I will sell the shares of these companies to somebody else. That is called a secondary market, where the instruments which are already issued, instruments, right, which are already there in the market, are purchased or sold. That is called a secondary market. Any problem with primary and secondary? Let me know. Any problem with primary or secondary market? We have discussed the idea of primary and secondary earlier also. Where? What is the context? RBI. RBI, right, purchasing the government bonds directly from Government of India. Primary. RBI purchasing government bonds from you. That is called a secondary. Done? Can we go forward? Can we go forward? ASBA also happens during IPO subscription. Amount gets locked. Yes, that's the reason I said. In primary market also, we have introduced ASBA. In secondary market also, we have introduced ASBA now. That is what I said while discussing ASBA. Okay, so these are certain important concepts that I want to discuss with you. Let me take up questions. Let me take up questions from the in the fiscal policy, that is budgeting. Then if the time permits, then we can come back and continue with the discussion. Any other questions you people have? NYSE instrument would be called what? What is NYSE instrument? NYSE is a type of secondary market in USA. You're talking about New York Stock Exchange. NYSE stands for New York Stock Exchange. It is a secondary market in USA. Okay, just like BSE, just like NSE in India, we have a NYSE in USA. Okay. In some shares, there's a slight difference in the prices between NSE and NSE. Can buy shares from NSE and sell it in BSE. Generally, the listing is done in one of these markets. Listing is done in one of these markets. Okay. Okay. Anything else? Anything else? Let me take up questions then. Solve questions. Solve the questions. Let's start. We'll discuss both the prelims based questions as well as the mains based questions. Okay, let's start now. Let's start. First one we have already solved. No, we have not solved this. One question we have solved. This one we have not solved. Let's start. Okay, 49% have answered correctly. Why? Let's start. With reference to union government, consider the following statements. The Department of Revenue is responsible for preparation of union budget that is presented to the parliament. Straightforward question, factual question. Please tell me, is it Department of Revenue or is it Department of Economic Affairs? Think of this. It is there in the slide, by the way. Is it Department of Revenue or Department of Economic Affairs? It is a Department of Economic Affairs. First statement is wrong. Second, no amount can be withdrawn from the Consolidated Fund of India without the authorization of Parliament of India. Right, one of the points that we discussed today morning at around 10 o'clock. Right, when I started discussing budgeting, this was one of the points I told you. The government of India, whenever they want to withdraw even single rupee from Consolidated Fund of India, I said they will have to take the approval of the parliament first. And that is the reason I said the government introduces appropriation bill, gets it passed in Lok Sabha, then in Rajya Sabha, then President of India will sign. Now government will be allowed to withdraw money. So second statement is correct. All of you agree? Second statement is correct. Third, all the disbursements means withdrawal and expenditure. All the disbursements made from the public account also need authorization from Parliament of India. Slightly polity statement. Please understand, there is an account called as public account. The name is there here itself, no need to write. There is an account, right? Public account. In case of public account, you don't require any permission of the parliament. You do not require any permission of the parliament. Government through executive authority can, right, simply withdraw money from the public account. So all the withdrawals made from the public account also need authorization from the parliament. Statement 3 is wrong. Only 2 is correct. Right option is option C, only 2 here. Okay, for those of you for whom polity is not over, do not panic. Is it okay? Please do not panic. Sir, polity is not over. Questions are asked on polity statements. Do not panic. It will be conducted. You already have the schedule. You know when it will be conducted. Please attend the classes. Nothing wrong with that. Okay. Next one. Okay. 55% have answered correctly. Let's start. There has been a persistent deficit budget year after year. Which of the following actions can be taken by the government to reduce the deficit? First one, reduce revenue expenditure. Please tell me, if you reduce revenue expenditure, will your revenue deficit come down? And what will happen to overall deficit in the budget? That will also come down. Point number 1 is correct. Introduce new welfare schemes. Exactly opposite to the first one. All of you will agree? Exactly opposite to the first one. If you introduce new welfare schemes, what will happen to revenue expenditure? Revenue expenditure will increase. When revenue expenditure increases, what happens to the deficit in the budget? Deficit will also start increasing. Second one is wrong. Rationalize the subsidies. Rationalization simply means increasing the effectiveness of how subsidies are given to the people. Simple. I'll repeat the statement. Effectively now giving subsidies to the people. Now, what do you mean by effectively giving subsidies to the people? Let me ask you a very simple question. What do you think? Should every house in India get LPG subsidy? Think of it. Answer, by the way. Okay, think and answer. What do you think? Should every house in India get LPG subsidy? That is, the poorest person will also get LPG subsidy, And the richest person, Mr. Mukesh Ambani, will also get LPG subsidy. Is it fair? Is it effective way to give subsidies? Absolutely no. But rather than this, where everybody gets a subsidy, that is every house will get subsidy, what if I shift? What if I shift to a system where only few of the houses, very few of the houses, sir, how few of the houses? Let's say poor houses in India will be given LPG subsidy. Can I say I'm rationalizing subsidy payments? Let me know. If I move from this system to the new system where very poor houses will be identified, given the LPG subsidy, can I say I'm rationalizing subsidy payments here? Anybody has a problem? Only those people who deserve the subsidy, who require the amount of subsidy, I will give the subsidy for those houses. That is a rationalization of subsidy system. Now, please tell me, if you are rationalizing subsidies, what will happen to the expenditure? Let me know. Based on this example only, you can tell me. If you're going to rationalize the subsidies, what will happen to the expenditure? Will the government expenditure increase or decrease? All of you will agree. If you rationalize subsidies, government expenditure will go down. And if your expenditure will go down, what will happen to deficit? Deficit will also go down. So third statement is correct. First statement is correct. Right option is option A. And again, please understand, I'm not using elimination method. I'm solving all the statements. Many of these questions which were asked earlier, you could use elimination method. But with new system, only one statement is correct. Two statements are correct. Three statements are correct. You cannot use elimination. That is the reason I'm solving every statement one by one. Okay. Next question. This one is already done. Do you remember this? This question we have already solved it. Right? Not specifically the question, but the concepts. Right? That is, vote on account deals only with the expenditure side of government budget. Correct or wrong? Statement 1 is correct. Second, interim budget does not give complete financial statement like a full budget. Second statement is wrong. Why? Even in the interim budget, if you remember it, I told you, government will give you details about total expenditure for the full financial year and total income for full financial year, just like a normal budget. So second one is wrong. First one is correct. Right? The right option for this question will be option A. We have solved it in the afternoon. That's the reason I'm not starting poll here. Okay. Descriptive questions. Descriptive question. Question number 1. The public expenditure management is a challenge to the government in context of budget making during the post liberalization period. Clarified. 250 word question. And look at the question. Such a technical question. Such a technical question. The public expenditure management is a challenge to the government of India in the context of budget making during the post-liberalization period. Clarified. Post-liberalization simply means after 1991 in India, budget exercise has become a difficult exercise. It has increased the difficulty nature. You will have to say why. You'll have to tell why this is a difficult exercise post 1991. These are some of the reasons. Point number 1. The challenges faced by the government because of post liberalization period in budget making, that is public expenditure management. First one, to keep a fiscal deficit at a lower level. To keep the fiscal deficit at a lower level. Don't you think that's a challenge for government of India? Some of you will ask me, sir, why this is a challenge after liberalization, after 1991 in India? I'll take a very simple current affairs example. Please tell me whether this makes sense to you or not. I will club point number 1 and point number 3. I will club point number 1 and point number 3. Now have a look at this. Russia-Ukraine war. Russia-Ukraine war. Now, please tell me, as a result of Russia-Ukraine war, has a fiscal deficit of government of India increased or not? Let me see how you people connect the dots. I'm asking a question. Because of Russia-Ukraine war, what has happened to the fiscal deficit of government of India? Has it had an impact on the fiscal deficit or not? Answer is yes, by the way. Answer is simply yes. Sir, how? How do you say this is yes? Why the expenditure for government of India has increased? I'll give a very simple example. Fertilizers. Very simple example. Fertilizers. Fertilizers. Now, you want to purchase a fertilizer in India. A farmer wants to purchase a fertilizer in India. Government of India provides a lot of subsidy on the fertilizer. That is, simple example. Imagine the cost of a fertilizer such as urea. The cost is 1000 rupee. In the market, farmer is not paying 1000 rupee. In the market, farmer pays around 250 rupees or 270 rupees. Which means, have a look at this. Don't you think that difference between the 1000 rupee and let's say 270 rupee, which comes out to be 730 rupees, this is a subsidy provided by the government for fertilizers? Yes or no? This is the subsidy provided by the government for fertilizers. But please understand the next point here. Ukraine supplies a lot of these fertilizers to the international market. Ukraine supplies a lot of fertilizers to the international market. Now, when Russia and Ukraine are engaged in the war, what will happen to the supply of fertilizer to the international market? Supply will go down. What will happen to the gas prices in the international market? Gas prices will go up. In fact, gas is one of the raw materials to produce fertilizers. Now, you tell me, if the fertilizer supply will go down, gas prices will go up, what will happen to the prices of fertilizer in the domestic market? Right? Don't you think the cost of production will skyrocket from 1000 rupees to 2000 rupees? From 2000 rupees, it can become 3000 rupees. Now, can we tell the farmer to purchase the fertilizer at a higher price in the market? Think of it. Can we ask the farmer in India, right? The Ukraine and Russia are fighting, and as a result of which, fertilizer price has increased. Rather than paying 270 rupees, now you pay 1500 rupees and purchase a bag of fertilizer. Do you think farmers will accept it? Don't you think that will have a huge impact? Think of it. That will have a huge impact on input cost in agriculture sector. And if the input cost in agriculture sector increases, don't you think that will have a repercussions over how much revenue the farmers will earn? Point number one. And second, what will happen to food inflation in India? Let me know. Will it have a larger impact or not? Now, Government of India, in order to address all these problems, will provide more subsidies. Government, in order to address all of these issues, will provide more subsidy. Now, you tell me, if government will provide more subsidy, what will happen to revenue expenditure? What will happen to revenue expenditure? Revenue expenditure will increase. And what will happen to fiscal deficit? Fiscal deficit automatically will increase. So don't you think because of globalization, have a look at this, because of globalization, right, one of the challenges that the government will face is controlling fiscal deficit, keeping fiscal deficit to a narrow number. That's a challenge for the government, especially post 1991, because globalization was promoted by Government of India post 1991 only. Okay. Crowding out, is it a challenge for Government of India or not? Let me know. We have discussed crowding out, by the way. Right? Don't ask me now what do you mean by crowding out. Is it a challenge for Government of India? Why is it a challenge? If crowding out will happen, what will happen to private sector investment in Indian economy? Let me know. If crowding out will take place, what will happen to private sector investment in Indian economy? Private sector investment will fall down. You prefer a fall in private sector investment? Is it not a problem for Government of India? Of course, yes. So they will also have to ensure, because of their budgeting, crowding out will not happen. Narrow tax net. Narrow tax net means, please go back to taxation chapter. Is there a huge tax avoidance practiced in India? Please do let me know. Is there tax avoidance practiced in India? Yes. Is there tax evasion happening in India? Of course, yes. Now, because of tax avoidance as well as tax evasion, the amount of tax revenue that the government would collect would be lower. But you need more money to spend under budgeting exercise. Right? So don't you think the resource constraint one of the issue that the government will face is constraint in money because of taxation avoidance and tax evasion. Capital expenditure. Government always has this dilemma. Should I spend more money on capital side or revenue side? Simple argument. Should we spend more money under the capital head or revenue head? Because think of this and let me know. Capital expenditure will provide you benefit in a longer duration. All of you agree with my statement? I'll repeat the statement by the way. Capital expenditure will provide you benefit, no doubt, will provide you benefit, not immediately, but in a longer duration. Whereas revenue expenditures will immediately provide you benefit in the form of votes. Correct or wrong? Correct or wrong? Please do let me know. Correct or wrong? Right? So don't you think many states, by the way, again, don't politicize it. Economics. Many states, be it right, having a BJP government, having a Congress government, having a JDU government, whatever political party is there, have you not seen many governments across in India providing lot of subsidies to the people? Lot of subsidies to the people. What is one of the reason they provide lot of subsidies? Welfare is one of them. What is the other objective? You already know the other objective. Okay. So if you provide more and more welfare payments, welfare subsidies under revenue, don't you think you will have a constraint in having more capital expenditure? And populism. Populism, right? Every political party, whenever they form the government, they want to become more popular. And now to become more and more popular over a period of time, we have introduced so many programs, so many schemes, right? So many infrastructure projects just to become more and more popular. That will also have a larger impact on expenditure incurred by the government. So these are some of the challenges that the government faces in public expenditure management in the last couple of decades. Now, what are the reforms? What measures have been implemented by the government to address this issue? One is FRBM Act. Now, please tell me, FRBM Act. Don't you think under FRBM Act, we are trying to control revenue expenditure and trying to increase capital expenditure? Yes or no? Under FRBM Act, we are trying to control how much revenue expenditure you have and ensure more and more expenditure from borrowings will take place under the capital head. Answer is yes. We have merged a railway budget with union budget. That is one more measure. Rather than having two different budgets, what is the argument? It is not a constitutional requirement. Please understand. Earlier, right, that is before 2017, government used to announce a separate railway budget. Then they used to announce right union budget. Why? Just a practice. Because before independence, two separate budgets were announced by the British government in India. We have continued that as a practice. Does it make any sense to you? If there is no constitutional provision, if size of the railway budget is very small compared to union budget, does it make any sense to have two separate budgets? No, it doesn't make any sense. That is the reason Government of India said, not a constitutional requirement. Let's merge railway budget with union budget. Rationalization of subsidies. I give you one example, and that is targeting the LPG subsidies. And when we discuss subsidies, I'll tell you what are the different schemes where we are implementing this concept of targeting. And one more is public financial management system, which will help Government of India in making policies, in making schemes, getting data very quickly related to all of these expenditures, etc. So these are some of the measures which have been implemented by the government to ensure public expenditure management, whatever challenges they face under public expenditure management will be addressed. Okay, right? So these are the certain important points regarding the question. Now please have a look at the next question. Have a look at the next question. Distinguish between capital budget and revenue budget. Explain the components of both of these budgets. Let me know. Did we discuss this earlier? Question is straightforward, not at all difficult. Last year mains this was asked. In the last year mains this question was asked. 10 marker question. Please tell me, is it easy question comparatively compared to other questions asked by UPSC in economics, is it not an easy question? Because this is a static question, straightforward from any book that you have referred to. Right? Distinguish between capital budget and revenue budget. Explain the components of both of these budgets. We have discussed this. There's no point in discussing the same thing again and again. What is the revenue budget? We have discussed. What is the capital budget? We have discussed. What are the components of revenue budget? Revenue expenditure, revenue receipts. What are the components of the capital budget? Capital expenditure and capital receipts. Right? Write two points on all of them. Give certain examples. Pretty sure you will be able to hit around 150 words based on that itself. Okay, you'll be able to hit around 150 words easily with all of this. Okay, so this is one more question which has been asked by UPSC. Next question. Women empowerment in India needs gender budgeting. What are the requirements and the status of gender budgeting in Indian context? What is the model answer? Start with the definition of gender budgeting. Did we discuss gender budgeting today? Let me know. First session. Did we discuss a gender budgeting? First session. Yes, we have discussed. What is the definition? That is your introduction. Second, come to the main body. What is the reason? Why do we require gender budgeting in India? I've given you 4 to 5 reasons. Write them. Come to the other part of main body. What is the status of gender budgeting in India? We have seen that over a period of time from 2005 and 6, around 5% of total expenditure incurred in annual budgets is incurred under gender budgeting. Right? Under this, we have divided the schemes into Part A scheme, Part B scheme, example of Part A, example of Part B. What are the issues? And recommend the way forward based on the issues itself. That is the answer to the question regarding gender budgeting. Done. So these are the various questions from prelims as well as mains which have been asked by UPSC under the concept of budgeting. Next week, that is next Saturday, we'll continue with the financial market. We'll pick it up after IPO and FPO. We'll pick it up, we'll complete, then take up the questions from the financial market. But before that, before I wind up the discussion for today, if anybody has got any kind of questions regarding what we have discussed, please do let me know. Otherwise, we will close the discussion. What is the homework? My dear, I've given you 14 articles. Read all the 14 articles carefully. I've given you around 14 articles today itself. Please read all the 14 articles carefully. That should take care of last 1 week's important concepts which have come in current affairs. And next week, again, I'll give you a set of around 14 to 15 articles related to what we are discussing, what is related in the current affairs. That will be your reading material. Okay. I'm seeing delisting process of SEBI in the news. Is the topic relevant? No. Delisting means a company which has already conducted an IPO or an FPO, they want to...
Good evening, sir.
Vivek, 1 second. Basically, the company wants to delist. Delist means they do not want the shares to be traded in the stock market. They will take all the shares, get their name out of the stock market. That is delisting. Okay. Vivek, good evening.
Yes,
Please go
good
ahead.
evening, sir. Sir, can a convertible bond be converted into cash in future?
No. Convertible means into another form of security. Another form of security. Because in the future, once the bond matures, anyways, you will get the money if it is non-convertible. So convertible means generally it is converted into another form of security, right? Not into money, another form of security. Okay.
What all are those, sir?
Shares.
Only shares.
Shares, right? Within shares also different types are there. The most basic types of shares are two types. So one is called as a preference and the second one is called as equity share. That we'll discuss next week.
And
Preference
sir,
and equity shares.
and sir, anyone can sell masala bond to borrow money, but can it be only from listed countries or any other countries like Bhutan or any?
Generally, there are conditions. For example, there is a condition. These countries should be recognized under FATF, Financial Action Task Force. There is one authority called as FATF. Again, that is all very technical in nature. FATF recognized countries, only in such countries we are allowed to issue masala bonds. And please understand this. Whenever you want to borrow through masala bonds, you will not go to a underdeveloping country. You generally go for a developed country. The
Yes, sir.
argument is very simple. In developed countries, interest rates are much lower compared to developing countries. So you want to go to a country where interest rates are lesser. You do not want to go to a country where interest rate is already 13%, which means any other instrument in this country will give you 13% interest rate. Now you want to sell a masala bond in this country. Don't you think you'll have to offer interest rate 16 to 17% then?
Yeah, sir,
It's
it
very,
will
very
go high.
costly for you. So generally in developed countries, interest rates are lower because the market is mature. Market is very well developed there. For
Like you,
example, in USA, interest rates is around 5%. In India, it is much, much higher than 5%.
sir, in UK.
UK, again, from one country to another country, interest rates will keep on changing, but it will be hovering around this range only. I'm not giving exact numbers for all the countries for a simple reason. Right now, inflation targeting is different. Many countries are increasing interest rates. Some of the countries are holding interest rates. It will vary. So I will not be entering into all the interest rates in all countries.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Sachin, please pick up the call.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Sir, you have told about the merger of railway budget and other budget, the union budget.
Yeah.
So, what are the financial impact of this merger?
Financial impact
Sir,
in the sense, please understand, earlier railway budget, the budget was prepared and announced by the railway ministry. Now,
okay,
many of the times it has been seen that the railway ministry, just to make it much more popular, right, just to make the announcement much more popular, just to cater to some of the population, have announced various projects which are not, right, revenue generating, which are
and which
not
were
going
not
to generate sufficient amount of revenues for the government. Now government says, I will not do all of this. I will merge this budget with union budget only, so that finance ministry let's finance ministry take a call regarding this. Earlier,
okay,
two
sir.
different ministries, infrastructure such as road, who will announce the projects for this? Finance ministry in the budget, of course. For ports, who will announce the projects in this? Finance ministry.
Finance Ministry.
Whereas for railways, there was a different ministry. So don't you think we are using multiple resources for making projects? Rather than this, what if only one ministry will decide all the projects? Don't you think there'll be synergy in project announcement? There'll be better utilization of the resources. And this practice of announcing budgets just for populism, even this will be done away with. Okay?
Yes, sir. This is right. This is, sir. One. I have one technical problem. I have already mailed about it,
Ah,
but no one has replied till now.
ah.
Sir, the last session, the lecture number 5, I was, because of some official work, I was not able to attend. So,
Access
lecture
to
number
that.
5,
I've already told.
le, sir, lecture number 5B is not available
No,
there.
I've already told. If you remember in the classroom itself, that is earlier
Okay.
sessions, some of the
Okay, sir.
students, a couple of you people said, sir, this part is not available, this part is not available. At the same point of
Okay.
time, I told you, please
Mhm.
write a mail. And after I took a break, I spoke to the concerned person here. I told them, this is the problem faced by the students. Please look into it. That will be resolved. Don't worry.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, done. Bye. Okay, anybody else? Anybody else has any kind of a question? How the cost of borrowing for the government will be lesser in case of inflation index bonds? If you are purchasing any normal bond, you do not know what will be the real interest rate after inflation takes place. Because if you will earn 8% on paper after 1 year, you do not know what the inflation rate will be. But in case of inflation indexed bonds, I am giving you a safety. Government is giving you a safety. What is the safety? I will give you 5% rate of interest, coupon rate, but I will adjust this coupon rate with whatever inflation rate is there in the market. So obviously more safety to you. More safety means automatically you cannot demand higher interest rate. They will offer you lower interest rate. That is the reason, right? They will basically say the cost of borrowing through inflation indexed bonds for the government would be lower. Okay. After reading prescribed resources, how many questions will we be able to answer in mains and prelims? There is no answer to this. There is absolutely no answer to this, right? Because you do not know how many questions are being asked from the current affairs. What is the source of this? For example, this year's current affairs. And please tell me, talk to the people who have written exam this year in the prelims. Even if they have read, right, let's say one newspaper every day, one static book, right, let's say Indian economy, two static book. Were the questions from any of these sources? Of course, no. So you do not know what will happen, but I would recommend, don't worry about that. Don't worry about it. If it is difficult for everyone. UPSC doesn't target you. UPSC is targeting everybody in the exam. So don't worry about it. Your duty is to prepare static plus current affairs. Don't worry. Okay. Okay. Any other question? Any other question? Done then. Right. So, okay. Done then. Let's stop the discussion today here. Right. Next week we'll continue with the discussion. We'll start from, right, the types of equity shares. Types of equity shares. What is equity share? What is a preference share? What is the difference between equity, right, etc., etc. We'll understand from the next week. That is Saturday. Right. Take care. See you again. Right. See you again exactly at the 12 a.m. I'm sorry, 12 p.m. Sorry, not 12 a.m. 12 p.m. Saturday. Right. So Saturday as usual at 12 to 8. Sunday next week again 10 to 8. So take care. Please read. Update with current affairs. Right. Again next week I'll give you certain assignment that is basically reading work. So bye. Good night. Take care.